Warning: the following contains explicit language and subject matter that may not be suitable for younger listeners, church folk, and people who enjoy kale smoothies.
The greatest feeling you can get in a gym, or the most satisfying feeling you can get in a gym, is the pump. Let's say you train your biceps. Blood is rushing into your muscles, and that's what we call the pump. Your muscles get a really tight feeling, like your skin is going to explode any minute. You know, it's really tight. It's like somebody blowing air into your muscle. It just blows up, and it feels different. It feels fantastic. It's as satisfying to me as coming is, you know, as having sex with a woman and coming. So can you believe how much I am in heaven? I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym. I'm getting the feeling of coming at home. I'm getting the feeling of coming backstage when I pump up, when I pose out in front of 5,000 people. I get the same feeling. So I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right? So, you know, I'm in heaven.
Yeah. My wife will love that.
Anyway.
So stupid, Mike.
It's a good thing this is not a video also.
Yeah.
All right, so we're already live.
All right, cool.
Yeah, easy. All right, welcome back to A Pod Amongst Men. We're here in episode 14. I'm here with my good man, Mike S. Mike, say hello.
What's up, everybody?
Today we're going to talk about one of the manliest things we could possibly ever do.
That's right.
Workout.
Strength training.
Pumping iron, baby.
That's right.
Sun's out, guns out.
That's it.
This is definitely something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. Even though currently my gym habits are not that disciplined as they used to be.
That's life, though.
Mm-hmm.
It flows. You know.
It's ebbs and flows, really.
Yeah.
Because I've had times when you're there 4 or 5 days a week, no problem, and times like now where it's like, I'll sit home and play with the kid, and maybe me and him will play Nintendo.
Yeah, you got that voice. You know, and everybody has that voice. Actually, I'm just got done reading a book by David Goggins, who's a psychopath.
Oh, it can't hurt me.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, he's someone who's kind of mastered that voice and just hushing it away.
See, I don't know that much about the guy other than what I've heard on like Rogan.
Yeah,
but he seems like a guy who has a lot of demons, and he's able to turn those demons and like kind of channel them into something that's constructive.
Yeah, he needs what he does though.
Yeah,
the book gets into a lot of details about his life, what he dealt with when he was younger and everything like that, and he went through some stuff, and came out the other side. And
see, to me, that's always like the best motivation to work out is when you have issues, you just burn them all off, use it as fuel.
Yeah, actually, part of the questions, the prep questions, you talked about kind of what are the benefits of exercise, and that's getting right into it. That's kind of one of them.
You know what? Before we get into that,
sorry.
Let's do a little intro so people know who you are.
All right, cool.
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I hate talking about myself, but
all right,
no, it's all right. I'll do it.
All right.
So my name's Mike S. I am a strength and conditioning coach by trade. I worked 8 years at the collegiate level, at Division I level. I'm currently at a high school strength and conditioning coach, and I'm actually about to open my own business, doing strength and conditioning services, consulting, etc. And I've kind of been around the iron now for quite some time. It's something that I took on when I was younger, and it just kind of went with it. And now, really, it's just teaching people habits. That's the best way to talk about what I do.
So let me ask you something. Do you specialize in like athletes specifically, or like do you have any clients that are like just regular people, like civilians?
Well, so where I'm at right now, it's in the scholastic environment, so it's typically athletes. But I do private work on the side, and most of my clients that I've worked with are
Do you specialize in a certain sport?
Yeah, I actually kind of I took on lacrosse for some reason. I got really into strength and conditioning for the sport of lacrosse. But once you understand what the demands of the sport are, it's relatively easy to to figure out, all right, what do I need to do? How do I need to go about training them? Strength work, condition work.
Methods.
Yeah, fine tune it. What's their coach doing? That's another thing. What's their sport coach doing to them out on the field? Because if they're coming into me wrecked from their coach, because they had, a 2.5 hour practice where they just got beat down. I have to change the plan pretty quick.
Yeah.
So it's always being on your toes. We're very adaptable.
I feel like most people think of trainers like just like some meathead at the gym who's like, oh, you're going to do this and run on the treadmill and then do 10 of these.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I don't think people really give it the credit it deserves, where like, the amount of knowledge you have to have just about anatomy and physiology, about, all the different, the little things, like the small details that people don't realize. Like you need to fine tune your plan to your client, to each person.
Every person and that's why a lot of the programming I use for my athletes, it's auto-regulating.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, what was your performance last week? It's going to scale what we do this week, and in between sets, what's your performance like, and we're going to grade. We're going to adjust your plan on the fly. If you got buried to practice and this weight's heavy for you, we got to drop it. We're not trying to kill you, because part of training, everyone thinks, oh, you got to kill yourself to get better. No, there's actually a finite amount of stress that your body can handle before it shuts down, stops working, and then that voice inside your head that tells you, oh, maybe I'll sit down and play video games, gets a little bit louder. So,
Didn't Bruce Lee have a quote about that exactly? Or not, maybe not a quote, but I believe in it might have been in the Jeet Kune Do book. He spoke about how you shouldn't work to the point of exhaustion, or to the point where you're actually damaging your body. Yeah. Because it's like you could only bend it so far before you don't bend back. Right.
Yeah. And then, there's also that whole concept, practice makes perfect. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're not moving correctly, practice isn't making perfect, it's making permanent. Yeah. And you're permanently jacking yourself up, and you're going to be in a really, really bad spot down the line. Like I was actually when I was 35 and laid up in the hospital.
What'd you do?
I herniated a disc in my back so bad that the material inside the disc, the nucleus of the disc, leaked out, and it coiled around my sciatic nerve. So no matter what, I went to physical therapists, no matter what they did, it made it worse.
How did you manage to do that? What kind of activity were you doing?
Being a gym idiot. Loading a bar too heavy when I was stressed out, and kind of getting after it, relying on caffeine and stimulants to take me through my workouts, because I was so burnt out on the work end. When you're coming up in the field of strength and conditioning, you have to do a bunch of apprentice work where you're getting almost no pay, and you're grinding. You're working 15-hour work days. There was a point in my first stint at Villanova where I would wake up at 5 a.m. to set up for all the football lifts. Mm-hmm. I would go throughout our whole day, and then I would have to do all the administrative office work at the back end. And next thing I know, I'm looking at the clock. It's 11 o'clock, and I got to be back in 6 hours. Oh, so I just wouldn't even go home. I would just sleep on the couch. It was the worst. It was a crucible, though. It taught me, but it also broke me, and I had to fix myself. A big saying in our field is you spend a lot of your time to get the experience to one day make money, and so that one day when you do make the money, you have to spend all the money to fix your body from what you did to it to get there.
That works with everything.
Yeah.
You see guys, especially in construction, guys work their whole life. They break their bodies down. They grind themselves to a pulp, and then they finally retire. And the next thing you know, as soon as they retire, they have to go get surgery on this. The knees are shot. My back's messed up.
Yeah.
You're laid up in the couch. The next thing you know, these guys, they croak. Because all of a sudden, that lack of movement, something about it. I've seen it happen to a lot of guys. They retire, even if they retire late in life. Just that lack of constant motion.
Yeah,
it's something about it.
It
takes them out.
It's a thing. You need to move, and you need to figure out how to grow with what your body's giving you. And that was the biggest benefit of when I was going through. All the problems, because it's a process to get back surgery, right? Nobody wants to operate on a 35-year-old. And so the doctors
why 35? Is that too old?
Too young.
Oh,
you're too young, because your surgery is only typically good for 10 years. Gotcha. And I'm going to prove that wrong, but typically surgery is only good for 10 years. Then you got to get back in there and get it again, and then another 10 years. Then you got to get it fused. Well, that puts me at 55 with the disc fusion. So I have to be very, very careful about how I go about training, and that I stay training. Because the second I I let that voice win, and I'm like, I'm gonna hang out with my son. My son's cool. I love playing with him. This, that, the other, and I don't do the work on the back end. Is the second the arthritis kicks in. It's the second everything locks up.
Yeah, it's a lot of maintenance.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You can't just do that walking into it. I saw a Taibo video a couple times. I should be all right. I'll figure it out. You need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like guys. All right, you're how old are you now?
I'm 37.
37. All right, I'm 34. I noticed around like young 30s, like maybe in the last couple of years, is when you start to you see the decline in your recuperation time, your recovery time, lack of energy.
Yeah.
Just get tired all the time. For whatever reason, you just get random pains. I'll just be standing in line somewhere, and next thing you know, like I get like a sharp pain in my neck.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? I'm not standing over there anymore.
No.
But like this is typically the age where you start to see everything,
Yeah.
loosen up, or
It's going to manifest everything you
start,
did.
You start to see the wheels start to come off a little bit.
Oh yeah, like like when you're climbing trees when you're 18, you don't think about the back end when you fall out of the tree. Oh, I just fell out of the tree. No big deal. I'm fine. Then you're like, oh, my shoulder. I'm 33. My shoulder's hurting. I can't rotate my shoulder anymore. What happened? And that's usually what happens. And this is a very important time in the development, because we're developing until we die. Mm-hmm. And you're always developing one way or the other. And in your developmental process, this is one of the most important times, because this is when by the time you turn 40, your cardio workouts, you're actually starting to damage your heart.
Really?
Oh yeah, your heart, it's muscle, so it's like a rubber band. It expands, it contracts, and it does all this awesome stuff. Well, what your cardio does, when people do quote unquote cardio, what it's doing is it's allowing your heart to fill with more blood. Therefore, it pumps more blood. Right, and that's the health benefit. Mm-hmm. More blood perfusion, more nutrients getting to your muscles, etc. What happens though is when you turn 40, the expansion capabilities of your heart diminish, because your body remodels your tissues, and there's more collagen fibers that go into it, and the heart isn't as elastic. So the cardio that you're doing to make your heart pump more blood is actually not helping you at all. So you have to adjust, and it's typically once you go past 30 minutes at a workout. Like, so my cardio right now, I go up to about 60, sometimes 90 minutes, depending on what intensity I'm at, and that's fine. But once I turn 40, got to keep it under 30 minutes. That's at least what the research is saying right now from what I've read.
I gotta talk to my dad about that. My dad is in his 60s.
Yeah.
The guy goes on like the stair machine for like an hour straight, and then he'll go in the elliptical for another half an hour.
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, it's not going to kill him, but it's it's not.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so don't listen to anything I say, really. But
he probably just goes on there, puts like headphones on, listens to like Rush Limbaugh or something, and just like gets angry and goes up 90 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, goddamn liberals. I love my dad. We disagree on some things, but I love him. He's a good man.
That's my dad to the T, too. Yeah. That's fine. He retired to Florida, and all he does is hang out at happy hour. That's
my dad's in Delray Beach.
Okay. My dad's in Key West. And he's,
nice.
He's like a child. He's become my kid. Dad, if you ever listen to this, I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah. No, that's all right. Dad, he's not my kid, but sometimes I have to, baby him a little bit. It's like, all right, I know how Dad gets. You got to take your nap. Come on. I love him.
All right, Grumpy.
I know he ain't going to listen to this, so I can pretty much say whatever I want.
That's great.
Unless one of my sisters listens and I'm like, Dad, you should hear the shit he was saying about you.
He trashed you, Dad.
So, all right. See, then you made me feel like I'm on Rogan or something. Where it's like I'm sitting here, the bald host, talking to somebody who's like way smarter than me.
No, it's just I had to do a lot of reading about this stuff and
figuring
things out, man.
This is your wheelhouse, dude.
This is it. Yeah. I dedicated a lot of time to it too. So hopefully people can glean something from my dumb mouth, and it'll help out.
Well, you know what it is? There's so you would think that this kind of knowledge would be out there, like just a base level, like in 2019, a lot. I mean, people learned a lot. We know that it's like, oh, don't eat pasta for energy, like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's certain rumors we've dispelled over the years and stuff we've debunked, and I feel like there's a certain base level of knowledge that should be out there, but as you talk to people, you realize there's a lot of people who they never got that information. Yeah. They're working from a point of ignorance, not to put them down or anything, but if you don't know, you don't know.
Well, also things change, exercise science, it's a science, and like all science, it's evolving. And, what worked in 1999 or 2005, it's not working now. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things, or it's changed, or, whatever the case may be. And also, I blame Instagram. I blame the Instagram models. like, you know, everybody sees these girls doing squats and like, oh man, look at that ass.
Yeah, I don't think they're watching those girls for workout tips, though.
No, exactly. And then, you know, and the information, any information they are getting from it, that's all they get. I mean,
yeah, they just know how to buy detox tea and, you know,
right.
skinny protein.
And I joke with my wife all the time, who definitely won't listen to this, so I'm not worried.
Jeez, thanks, man.
No, it's me. Trust me. It's me.
Really?
Yeah, she doesn't want to hear anything I have to say about it. So she, you know, after having the baby, she's like, all right, I got to figure out how to lose weight. I'm like, well, Ash, it's going to come off. Just do what you normally do. Just do what you do. And she's like, well, that's not good enough. Right? And she sought every resource but her husband, who's an expert in the field, because she doesn't want to hear it from me, right? She wants to hear it from someone else. And sometimes that person is Kayla from Instagram in Australia. And sometimes that person's someone else. But, you know, unfortunately, I think getting back to it, you know, having the right information, it's part of the art of coaching, you know, and unfortunately being coached is expensive. And so there's that as well.
Do you think that, I mean, I know it's, with these Instagram models and stuff, do you think that there's a certain level to that's just genetic for those girls, or maybe even it's just like something where it's not done, it's not brought out by hard work and dedication? I mean, listen, those people are definitely out there, so let me just be clear about that.
100%.
There's people out there that work their ass off to look the way they do,
right,
and they take it 100% seriously.
Yeah.
But we all know those people that are just blessed with good genes.
Absolutely.
You know, or, you know, blessed with a good knowledge of Instagram filters and
a big butt.
Yeah, and a big butt.
And angles, you know, and you know, there's definitely all right. Getting into the science, yes. You can grow your glutes, and you do it by doing squats and lunges and all this other stuff that everybody's doing, right? But you know, it's not going to grow the size of some of these models, man.
Yeah. Oof. Not everybody can be J-Lo.
No, and not everybody can handle a caboose like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just gotta understand.
Mm-hmm. You don't have the frame for it. It's just, let's be realistic.
It's built. Your glutes are for running, for sprinting, and that's part genetics. Are you built to sprint?
Yeah. Well, there's like especially like with men. They say there's like 3 like body types, like endomorph, mesomorph, and what's the other one? Ectomorph. Yeah, and then sounds like a Ghostbusters thing.
It does. Yeah, it's actually how I always remember that.
Yeah.
But there's also like hybrids. You know, endo, meso. You know, really, and what that really is like your muscle fat, and you know all the other kind of types. That kind of you fall somewhere in on that continuum. Everybody.
How much does that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? How much does that inform the way you need to work out and the way you need to tailor your specific plans to the person?
You know, that's a thing. And here's the thing, though, is that that might be at step 8, and most people don't get past step 2.
Really?
You know, so we have to, going back to it and just kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of actual just physical training. It does not take a lot of time. It does not take a ton of effort. And you can get fantastic results. The problem is the basics are boring to people, and the basics are necessary. Yeah. You know, so I mean, I guarantee you, if you and I walked into the new Lifetime Fitness over there in Bridgewater, right? We're walking there. Every man is bench pressing. Yeah. Every girl's on a treadmill, and that's where they go to first, right? That's where they're gravitating. But the problem is the men need to squat. Yeah. You need to do pull-ups. You need to do bench pressing, but you don't really need to bench. You can do push-ups. You could do, you know, overhead pressing. And then, you know, you need to do some sort of hinging or deadlifting. That's
like a compound movement.
Yeah. Multiple compound movements. You know, there are 7 basic positions that our hips and shoulders are going to make, right? Our shoulders will make 4 positions. Our hips will make 3 positions. And you need to challenge your body with load, with metabolic demand throughout all of those positions, you know, using them as end range. So getting into it, like the bottom of the squat to the top of the squat, that's the squat pattern. Your body needs to do that. Look at any infant out there who's learning how to walk. They'll squat 100 times a day. Yeah. Trying to get up, and it's perfect. And it's wired to be perfect. But over time, sitting in chairs, sitting in computers, you know, riding the train to work, whatever you're doing, it totally deteriorates it.
I know a lot of guys definitely neglect legs. I did for a long time. I mean, I walk up and down stairs a lot at my job, so I always felt like I move my legs a lot. I'm on my feet all day. Like I'm not sitting. The only time I'm really on my sitting is when I'm home or when I'm driving to work.
Right.
So, but now I realize. So, right after I got married, when my wife moved up here, we started going to Orange Theory. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
She had done it when she was in Florida, and it just so happens there's a place close by in Bedminster.
Okay.
So we started going, and a lot of that has to do with legs.
Yes.
You're just doing the treadmill, the rower, and then whatever you do on the floor with free weights and like bands and benches and stuff. So no heavy lifting.
Right.
But there is a shitload of legs.
Yeah.
And boy, I didn't realize how weak my legs are.
Oh, the rowing ergometer will crush your legs. The rower will crush you.
You know what was the problem with the rowing? My stomach was a little too fat, so it was really hard when I'd have to go down to the bottom of the movement.
Yeah.
But it was the legs because they just hammer you with squats and lunges and anything that involves your legs. And for the first month or two, it was like I was incapacitated after a class. I was like, we didn't lift that much. I held a 20-pound dumbbell and did goblet squats.
Right.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I definitely see now a huge improvement.
Right.
But
well, that's the thing too, is what you experience there when you're completely incapacitated, up to 72 hours afterwards. That's delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS. And that once someone who's unfamiliar with training and what training feels like, that's their cue to exit. Yeah. That's their out. Oh, it killed me. I couldn't do it. But what happens is if you stay consistent, you keep going through it, it doesn't happen anymore. Yeah. You just, your body adapts.
Yeah, absolutely. And
because our bodies are fantastic at adaptation and finding homeostasis in crazy situations. That's how guys, guys get through buds. That's how
homeostasis. You want to explain that really quick, just for anybody who might not know?
Yeah. So our body is constantly in search of homeostasis, which is just normalcy, right? We need normal heart rate. We need normal hormone levels. So when you're training, not only are you're affecting the way your body produces and is sensitive to hormone levels, right? And the main hormone that's like the fatigue hormone is cortisol, right? Also has to do with fight or flight, and it's one of those things that you want to make sure that you drop your cortisol levels. But in situations where your body's been stressed out, your cortisol levels are going to shoot up, right? But eventually, in time, your body's going to level them off, and that's kind of an example of just your body finding homeostasis. Okay. And just finding back normal levels, returning to normalcy.
So, we kind of veered off a little bit. That's cool.
That's all right.
Going back, so guys in early to mid 30s.
Right.
What would you recommend for the average dude? It doesn't really matter what your job is. I mean, unless you're literally carrying boulders for a living. But right. What do you think what would you say is the best basic start for a workout? Let's get into just a skeleton plan.
Just a base. All right. Yeah. So a base plan of someone
who really doesn't have a history of working out.
Right. So if I were their coach and I were observing them, first things first, I'm going to put them through some sort of warm-up that entails movement. So I want to see without load, without weight. I want to see what their squat pattern looks like, because then I can identify things I need to do to affect it. That can kind of trick them into doing it correctly. What is their base deadlift position look like? How are they pressing? What are their push-ups like? How stable are they on one leg? Can they lunge? Can they put their back knee in the correct position? There's all different check marks I have, that I'm looking at. And the warm-up's going to do that, but they're going to be working. So they're not even going to know that I'm assessing them at that point in time. And once I find the assessment, I won't even bring it up until the end of the workout. I'm not going to interrupt the work. And then from there, if I get a guy, early 30s, had weightlifting experience before, everything kind of checks out in the warm up. I'll put them under load and I'll squat them. But if not, I'm going to teach them. I'm going to teach them lunging. Lunging is a safe alternative to squatting. Very easy to do, and it's much more friendly on your spine.
Okay.
I mean, there could be knee issues that you have to worry about, but as long as it's very easy to be cleared through that. So that's not even a thing. But you're gonna get them some sort of base squat pattern, whether lunge, squat, whatever. I'm gonna definitely keep them working in between their sets. So if they're doing 3 sets of 10 reps each leg with lunges, which is kind of on the high end of demand, like their heart rate's going to get jacked up from that. I'll pair that with an exercise that everybody's comfortable with, push-ups.
Okay. So you would keep the heart rate up throughout the entire workout.
Yeah. I'm going to try to elevate you. And plus, when people are spending money on a service, right? There's no real, they don't immediately, they don't know whether what you did was good or not. They just know that did they work hard. Right. And that's one thing that people know when they're working out, they need to work hard.
Yeah.
They don't have to go crazy, but as long as they feel sweaty and at the end you throw in some abs, they'll be happy
something to show for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like even with student athletes, at the end of their lifts on Fridays, I would always let my men's lacrosse team blow up the arms. Do whatever you want to do. You get 10 minutes as long as it's safe and it doesn't look ridiculous. You're welcome to it. And it's kind of part of keeping them engaged. So yeah, I would definitely want but I would also want to see some sort of metabolic demand. I want to see him do a little bit of cardio. I want to see him run. Every human being should be running, if you can.
I love running.
I hate it.
I love it when it's over.
Yeah.
Since I'm not running right now, I could say I love it.
yeah. It's the bane of my existence. But even my boss is an Ironman. So he does
really?
he does Ironman.
Jesus.
And so he's like, oh, you need to get out for a run, and I'm like, shut up, Doug, in my head, but I know I do. He's right. But yeah, you got to run and you got to sprint once a week. You got to go. Early on, you do not need to lift weights heavy. Heavy weights aren't even a part of it because your body's so down regulated from even if you have a relatively active job. Guaranteed, you're not dropping your knee to 1 inch off the floor in a lunge and holding it for a second, every rep and really getting your heart rate up and doing that. So, and then as they progress, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, that first 8-week window, that's where you establish the habit and you teach them. Everything's a learning process. So you figure out where they're at, progress them or regress them accordingly, and I know it sounds like there's a lot of conceptual stuff going on here, but really like you need to squat with a kettlebell. Do a goblet squat. Let's use that as the base. Now a progression of that would be a front squat. A regression would be air squats. And just have that in your back pocket. If something's not feeling right, and I do it to myself when I'm training. If something's not feeling right, scale it back.
I have a problem with squats. Do you ever I noticed they say you're supposed to, if you were to face a wall, I learned this when I first started CrossFit.
Yeah.
You keep your hands up in front of your face.
Yeah.
And then you squat down. You should be able to squat all the way down without leaning and falling forward into the wall. Is that a thing, or was this guy just fucking with me?
It's a thing.
Because I couldn't do it. I can't do it. My ankles don't bend that far.
Yeah. So I think that there's flaws in that assessment.
Thank you. I feel so much better.
Yeah, and I'll tell you exactly why. And you actually hit the home run, right? Your ankles. So to establish full depth in squatting with an upright torso in each position, you can go arms out in front, hands here, and then overhead. To establish a good position at the bottom of the squat, your knees are actually going to float kind of over your toe. Right?
Yeah.
Your knees actually need some sort of, the forward movement of the knee would be called translation. They're going to have to translate forward a little bit. And what that does is it actually forces your knees to stay back. So it teaches you that your lower back is going to bear the burden of squatting, and it shouldn't. And that's how Coach S here jacked his back up, because I had that pretense as well. And then after I dug down deep, looked at Kelly Starrett is a very famous. He's really famous in the CrossFit community, and he's also just famous in strength and conditioning. I dove into his stuff, and he kind of confirmed what my suspicion is, that squatting with pulling your knees back and having a vertical shin is not necessarily a safe way to keep your back healthy.
Oh, good. I'm glad I sucked at it, because I guess I could have really gotten hurt.
Yeah, you could have. Throw 300 pounds on that bar and try that.
Oh, God. Oof. Yeah, those were I only did CrossFit for a little while, but then I got a Groupon for 10 classes.
Oh, you did?
Real cheap.
Yeah.
So I started doing it. I loved it. I love the idea of it, the concept where it's just all these different moves,
Yeah.
like put together, all these strength, like Olympic strength lifts, and
Yeah.
then like gymnastics type stuff. And I loved it. But then I realized I'm like, I don't know if I like the class. Like I had a little issue with the instructor. I don't know. I think he was kind of a dick.
Okay. Never mind.
I don't want to.
We'll talk off. Yeah.
But it's like I'm all for like getting angry and aggressive when you're doing that for motivation. But it was kind of like it carried over like to outside of class.
Well, no wonder his business was offering Groupons.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, if someone's paying you, you're not supposed to yell at them.
Well, no, it wasn't even the yelling.
Or be a dick.
But it was like they would set up the WOD, like the workout of the day. Mm-hmm. And like for me, I would always go on the same day every week. I would always go Wednesday night.
Okay.
So it just so happened that there was certain moves that I was better at, like handstand push-ups. I could just do them.
God bless you.
I could do them. But it just so happened that every Wednesday he would put that on the WOD. And he would make it seem like, oh, you can't just come on the nights where, we're doing moves that you like. I'm like, dude, I didn't make the workout. You did. I come the same day every week.
Yeah. And
it's not my fault.
Dick, CrossFit's supposed to be fucking random.
Yeah.
Like, randomize it.
Why do you keep putting handstand push-ups on Wednesdays?
Yeah. Like, that's the whole selling point of CrossFit, is you just hit it on the head, right? Their business model is, let's vary the workouts. Right, they're going to expose you to gymnastics, Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, endurance training, the whole 9 yards. We're going to stress your body out differently every time you're here, and that's how you're going to adapt. It's a concept. Motor learning has a concept called part practice, where you teach a skill, and then you might not touch back on it for 3 weeks, but then you touch back on it. Some people respond very well to that. It also keeps their clients engaged, but you can't be going handstand push-ups every Wednesday, dog.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, I liked it, but I forget what the name of the one workout. I think it was not Fran.
Fran.
Fran is what? That's.
I don't know what the Fran one. The only one I actually know is Murph, because Mike, Mike Murphy and stuff like that. And
that one sucks.
I can't. I'm doing it on his the anniversary of his passing. I'm gonna do it this year.
I used to be so good. I used to do that just like normally, just to fuck around.
You really?
I was that serious when I was single, of course. Like when you like
because you're when you're single, you're getting after it.
You have nothing else in your life.
What I look back on when I was 24, I'm like, what the hell did I do with myself?
Oh my god,
I had so much time I wasted. But
yeah.
But when you're 24, you have nothing else to do but get after the Murph workout.
Absolutely,
3 times a week.
No problem. Like what I used to do when I was training for the Warrior Dash. You see like one of the mud races?
Yeah.
I wanted to be competitive in it, but it was when it was. I think it was like. They'd only been doing it for a few years at this point, but they came to the Poconos out by Skirmish, the paintball place, which is gigantic.
Yeah.
So I signed up for it like 6 months in advance. It's me and a friend of mine from work. What up, Nitro? If you're listening to this, his name is Ryan, but we call him Nitro. He calls me Gizmo, but that's a whole other story.
That's great.
Yeah. We're Scrubs fans.
Nice pet name.
Yeah. But anyways, I was training hard, dude. Hard. 4 days a week. My workout, I would go in first thing on the treadmill, 2 miles. Then I would go do 2 lifts. I would usually do like pull exercises on one day. So I would do chest and buys on one day, and then back and tries another day.
Oh yeah.
But no, I'm sorry, not all pull. Like pull and push. I would mix it up so you don't burn out one muscle group.
Yeah.
So I would do 2 miles, then go do 2 lifts, then go back on the treadmill, another 2 miles, then another 2 lifts, then go back and do another 2 miles, and then do abs at the end.
Okay. So you were just preconditioned to do Murph.
Yeah,
it wasn't even a thing for you.
It was something I read in like Men's Health or something, or Men's Fitness, one of those magazines.
Yeah.
And it was saying like they called it a 3-2-1 workout, where you do 3 sessions, like 3 things, like 3 10-minute spans of cardio, 2 10-minute spans of lifting, and then 1 10-minute span of abs.
Okay.
And you do that, but the whole point is that you keep your heart rate up the whole time.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. Normally I would just do however far I ran at like 6.0 on the tread.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, that's whatever I got. But these days I was going fucking hard in the paint, man. I was going balls out.
Yeah.
And I was stoked. Like I was in really good shape, like athletically in good shape. So we did the thing. I think we placed in the top 100 of that day. I think it was like number 88. But it was like 3,000 people that did it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I was super proud. And I don't even know where I was going with that.
I know you were getting on Murph. You were talking about Murph days.
So I was in good shape, and I was ready for all that stuff. And then, a little time went by, and then, you get into a relationship, you start cooling off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then after a while, then you break up. and now you're all right. Now you're dedicated again.
Yeah.
I got to get back in hunting mode. You know what I mean? I got to get back in shape for the wilderness.
That's right. Nobody wants me. Nobody
Yeah.
wants me right now. I don't look right.
There's a saying. They say breakups make bodybuilders.
Yeah.
You've heard that before?
I have heard that. Well, actually, I haven't heard that before. That was a lie. But it makes sense. It completely makes sense. If you polled 100 men of their life between 20 and 24, I'm sure that's what everyone was doing. It's like that cycle. I used to like to ride the roller coaster because I'm like, man, everything's going good. I need something shitty to happen so I get back in the gym. I really want my girlfriend to cheat on me right now.
But I know exactly. I know the feeling.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about because that's some of the best fuel. Like, okay, so the treadmill, for instance.
Shout out to Daniela, by the way.
Listen, ladies, we know who you are. You know who you are.
Yeah, that's right.
We should say thank you. Yeah. Thank you for giving us motivation.
Yeah, right. But and then every road led us here. Look, you got a fantastic wife. You got a family.
yeah.
I got a family.
Listen,
I got a
I
beautiful
wouldn't-
wife. Wouldn't trade any of it.
Neither would I. If I can go back in time, I wouldn't change a thing.
Nah.
Would not change a thing because I'm happy where I am right now.
That's great.
So, the treadmill. I know you said you don't like the treadmill.
I hate it.
I have a love-hate relationship with it. But one of my favorite things to do is to get on the treadmill, which I prefer the treadmill over running outside because I need to zone out mentally.
Okay.
I need my mind to be somewhere else. I need
Yeah.
to forget what I'm doing. I need to embrace the suck, and I need to have good music on.
Okay.
And I talked about this with Drew and my friend AJ.
Okay.
And I have certain music that I need to hear. Like certain music brings it out. It gives you motivation.
What is it for you?
Now it depends. It depends on the mood. If I'm on the treadmill, I usually like metal or something from a movie.
Okay.
So I have the Creed soundtrack.
Okay.
So that
is it good?
Well, they have a great mix where if you watch the movie, the scene when he was running through the street and they have the kids on the quads were like following him.
Yeah.
Like that whole sequence where it's him training, they have a whole cut where it's the exact music from that, where it's the orchestra and the score from the movie mixed in with like rap and singing. So there's like a verse with Meek Mill, and then it cuts to like Jhené Aiko sings a little bit in there,
Yeah.
and it's really good. Or I like certain metal songs.
Okay.
I like metal. I like to imagine I'm in a movie, or like think of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Think of like these epic battle scenes.
Yes.
Think of Game of Thrones. Think of Star Wars.
So you're
anything.
Yeah, you're thinking like Battle of the Bastards, and you're running in
I'm
there.
walking into this battlefield, axe in hand.
Oh man.
Just slaying motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Just putting it down.
See, that's visualization, man. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, but I can't do that when running outside on the street because I'm gonna get run over by some jerk off in a Jeep Cherokee.
Exactly. Or you're going to see like an 8-year-old. You'd be like, I don't want to have an axe around an 8-year-old. I'm sorry, kid.
But I need certain music. Like if I'm lifting,
Yeah.
I like rap. If I'm boxing, I need rap. It's got to be
Right.
rap. If I'm sometimes I know when I was younger and I used to go out to the clubs a lot. I used to like more like dancier stuff, and you just working out your dance routine for when you're out there.
Yeah, mine always ended poorly. It was an embarrassment.
I used to imagine myself at remember Havana in New Hope?
Oh, yeah.
That was our spot.
I love that place.
Yeah, go out there, just battle people on the dance floor. I have whole things worked out, and then I would get there in real life, and they would never play the song I wanted. It didn't happen.
I actually had a friend who would go out and seek dance battles. I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, his name was Steve. You're sitting across from him.
Yeah. One of my buddies from when I was training jiu-jitsu, this kid Ryan would go and he would battle, and like he's the quietest, most unassuming guy. He would get in people's faces and throw moves at him. I don't believe you people. Like, why would you do that to anyone?
Well, it's, what it is? It's like a friendly competition.
Right.
Or at least that's the way it should be. I know some guys are just douchebags.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, as long as you do the battle, it's not so much about who wins or loses, although it's great to win.
Yeah.
But when it's over, you shake hands, you give each other a hug, it's all good. And then everybody has a good night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're like me, and all of a sudden, you're in this huge dance battle, and the guy decides he wants to try to do breakdancing moves, so you bust out a windmill, don't realize you're too close to the stage, and you smash your head into the bottom of the stage on your birthday.
Night over.
No.
Oh, you kept going?
I was too drunk.
Okay.
I think that was why I didn't have a good sense of, a good orientation where I was. So
Yeah,
I actually pulled the windmill off, hit my head after like the second rotation,
That's great.
and it was like a loud like thud. It was like boom. And all of a sudden, you just hear everybody, oh, yeah. And then I got up and I was like, yeah, what? And they're like, bro, you all right? I was like, yeah, what happened? What's the matter? Like you just like bashed your head in on like a wooden stage. Oh shit, is that what that was?
Am I bleeding?
Like, did it look cool though? Did I look cool, guys?
Oh man,
I still believe that I won that one.
that's fine, man. You know, and sometimes victory is just your perception of the events.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
All right, so what do you do to get through the running? Let's get back to
All right,
brass
so
tacks here.
I have to pick my shots with running.
Stop banging the table. Sorry.
That's all right. It's your podcast. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I want it not to sound like shit.
So I have to pick my shots with the running. You know, I try to only run once a week, whatever. So I do rowing. I do like heavy sprints on the rowing ergometer, and I crush the elliptical sometimes too, man. Because you know it lets me get my heart rate to zone 2 and just cruise there. And I can just throw in my tunes and just do my thing. And it's embarrassing what I listen to when I'm doing cardio.
Can't be worse than me, man.
I listen to like folk rock. I want it as peaceful as possible.
Really?
Yeah, because when I lift, I want it as chaotic and hectic as possible.
Oh, see, I need the chaos when I'm on the treadmill.
Yeah,
Because it really does suck. Like, you're not wrong about that.
it's the worst.
But I need to crank it up and like actually feel the pain and just embrace it.
Yeah.
And that's when I let it out. That's when I let all the negativity, all that bad shit.
Yeah.
That's when I let it out on the treadmill.
And there's nothing, and there really is no feeling like the feeling you get after your session is over and your heart rate comes back down. You take a deep breath, you exhale, and you're like, I just fucking crushed that.
Oh yeah, that's a
just crushed
great
that.
sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, it feels great.
You felt like you just have nothing left. You totally gassed yourself out.
Yep.
And left it all out there.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So the way I handle the treadmill is once a week. I typically
Once a week?
Once a week on the treadmill.
Okay.
We have at my current place of employment, we have the Woodway Curve treadmill.
Okay.
It's self-propelled, so it makes shitty treadmill running shittier. So you have to propel it. It's almost like running at a 6-degree incline on a normal treadmill. That's
what they say. The regular treadmill, you don't have to actually move yourself. You just have to keep from falling, basically.
Yeah. So your hamstrings the day after want to fall off. So I do high intensity running on there. My distance stuff I do on the arc trainer right now, but I'm actually I'm going to start folding in more running because I'm legitimately training for Murph. You know,
Okay.
it's something that it's hard because I don't compete in jiu-jitsu anymore. I have nothing to be competitive about.
Yeah, you need a goal, something to shoot for.
Yeah, I need something, and I need something to train for. Mm-hmm. And that's my thing. My buddy Mike, he and I are going to just go out there and do it on our own. No social media, no bullshit. We're just going to go and do it and honor the fallen and move forward.
Yeah. See, I like that. I like that you're not doing it for social media. I'm not. Certain things you don't need to brag about. You don't need to show everybody. Just do it because it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
If you're doing it for like a cause, like charity for that, in that case,
Yeah.
just do it because it's right.
Yeah.
You know, and do it because it's something you want to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to put it on Instagram for the likes and I gotta make sure the world knows I did this. Otherwise, it didn't happen.
Right. And I look at that like, the only people who really need to know what I'm doing it for, they're already gone.
Yeah.
So they're whether you believe in afterlife, hell, heaven, whatever the case may be, they're going to see it. They know, and I know, and that's it.
That's all
That's
matters.
all I want.
That's all that matters.
It's one of those things. But so yeah, I'm training for Murph, and that is what it is. So I'm crushing pull-ups. I do the way I work out. Like my training right now, it's so simple. It's like stupid. Like an 8-year-old could have drawn it up with almost no knowledge. I bench press. I superset pull-ups in with it. I do some sort of lower back exercise. So I tricep everything. So I'm moving from exercise to exercise. The loading scheme I use, there are different popular loading schemes. One was made popular by a powerlifter named Jim Wendler called 531. I used to do that. I then found this loading scheme called APRE, and I'll explain it. It's so simple. I'll explain it in a second. It's been around since I think the 1920s, but it was repopularized by a guy named Dr. Brian Mann. He's a strength and conditioning coach, power lifter. He's based out of University of Missouri, I believe now. I'm not 100% sure where he's at, but he wrote a book. I read it, and it was cool, and I love it. And it's really simple. You figure out, your accumulation of training. You say, all right, my bench press training max is 250 pounds, right? And so you would figure out what your 6 rep max would be, or your 3 rep max. You do 2 warm-up sets, but since I'm old, I do 3. And then on my 4th set, I hit as many reps as possible on my estimated 6 rep max. I rest 3 minutes. If I got more reps than 6 reps, I add weight to the bar. If I got less, I take weight off the bar. So on that 5th set, my final set, I'm hitting my 6 reps, and whatever weight that is, that now recalculates my training max for the next week. And going. So it's auto-regulating.
Do you carry like a notepad with you to keep track of everything?
Yeah, I'm a psycho, so I have like an Excel file on me. I track myself like I track my kids.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't imagine that anybody's gonna have to remember all those numbers.
No,
so, yeah, you gotta have something.
Yeah, I just draw it out, and I have it programmed into Excel, so it kicks it out. I should, what people should, someone who's smarter than me needs to design an app, so if like people want to follow certain loading schemes, they enter their number and it just gives them their weights.
I got a guy.
You got a guy?
I got to call Rich.
Give him a call, man. Get him in here.
My friend Rich.
I'll talk to him.
He's a guy's a whiz.
Yeah.
He was working. I think he came up with Foursquare before Foursquare was a thing.
Dude, Foursquare.
Or maybe he had I don't know. It was like a different idea or something. But either way, he came up with it, and then 2 years later, it actually came out, and he was like, "Well, fuck that." You know what I mean? He's a smart dude. He does IT. We should reach out to him.
Yeah, talk to him. Get him on the horn.
Absolutely.
So
that's get him on the show.
Yeah. Get him on. So that's like my first part of training. Then I'll do my squat. So I'll do squat with some sort of core exercise and more pull-ups. Because I'm training for Murph, I'm just trying to hammer as many pull-ups in a week. I'm trying to keep the volume of pull-ups ridiculously high.
Okay. I'm always in favor of that.
Yeah, it's one of the best exercises you could do. So that's kind of it. And once again, the squat I load like my bench, except because I have a back issue that occasionally flares up still despite having surgery. I have to be smart about it. So this week I might do front squats because my back feels awesome. Everything's in alignment. I feel great. I'm gonna front squat this week. The next time I do the workout, I might do some rear foot elevated squats to take the load off my spine. So it's about knowing your body. And then, so that's kind of day one. Day one is your bread and butter lift. I train the head and neck. It's because I preach it to my athletes because they're in collision sports.
Yeah.
And the concussion is really the only injury that's not only going to take them off the field, but it's going to take them way out of the classroom too. So we try to mitigate that as much as possible. And then the following day is my long cardio day. I'll go 60 to 90 minutes, zone 1, zone 2. I keep it easy. And that's whatever. I'm going to start to add my runs to that too. I have a track right outside my office, so I can just spin around that thing. And then day 3 is like my high intensity cardio intervals where I go, a minute all out, and then I let myself rest and get my heart rate back down and repeat the cycle until I feel like vomiting. But really in about 6 to 8 reps. I'm old. I can't handle more.
So this is going to bring us into one of the biggest things I want to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Which is the worst part of getting in shape, dieting.
Yes.
Your meal plan.
Yeah.
What you eat. This is, I think, without a doubt,
hands
down, the most important part of all the shit we're going to talk about.
100%. 100%. And it's because it's one of those things, when I'm talking to my athletes or a client, and it doesn't matter. This can be, Joe Schmo, the 60-year-old, because 60-year-olds can still benefit from eating right.
Oh yeah.
It's really simple. If you're not eating right, you're not sleeping well, and you're not hydrating, you're not training. It's simple because you're going to diminish your ability to train so far that by the time you actually drag your ass to the gym, you're going to be so far off from what 100% of normal would be. My Game of Thrones ticker keeps going off.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna talk about that tonight too.
Yes.
It's Sunday right now, the 14th. Season 8 now?
Season 8.
It starts tonight.
It starts tonight, man.
We had to schedule this specifically so as not to miss the premiere.
Yeah. So this is my system of nutrition.
Let me jump in for a sec. So I don't know if you remember years ago, like around not too long after we first became friendly. I don't know how much heavier I was than I am now, but I was heavy. I was not in shape. I was working, eating like shit, not working out.
Right.
And then, I started trying to eat right, started working out regularly. And I lost about like 50 pounds. And I developed good habits as far as, being consistent and disciplined with exercise and eating, just avoiding all like the shit food.
Yeah, man.
No, fast food, none of that stuff. Just watch my sugar intake. And it makes such a difference. And then as you get used to it, you can tweak your plan a little bit.
And if you want to fuck off on a Sunday and eat a bowl of pasta, it's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
And it's okay. As long as you're in alignment 6 days out of the week, have some pasta, man.
But that's the thing that sucks, is that it does take those 6 days to really allow yourself to have that one day to fuck off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing that's really hard for a lot of people, to be consistent, because, depending on where you live, I mean, even here, like, it's not that easy to find healthy food out.
No.
Unless you cook yourself. And if you work all day, who wants to come home and cook every night?
Yeah.
So one of the things I found that works the best is like 1 or 2 days a week, maybe like on a Sunday and on a Wednesday or Thursday, you do meal prep.
Yes.
You cook a bunch of stuff and you get a bunch of Tupperware containers and you just make your food for the week. So you can grab and go.
Yes.
Make it healthy to your own specifications.
Yep.
And it's easy.
Exactly, and you can measure your food out. You can pre-portion. You can pre-portion what you have. You could, or the way Ash and I do it. My wife is we cook on Sunday, and we'll cook our carbohydrates. So I'll make sure I got some brown rice in the fridge. I'll make sure there's some sweet potatoes ready, because this is what we feed our kid. My son. He was 4 months old when he started on the purees. By 6 months, we said, no, we're not doing this. He's eating whole foods. And it's a thing, like, new mom that they do, like, it's called baby-led weaning, and there's all this benefits to it. But I just looked at it as like, my kid can handle soft solids, and I want to get him into eating whole foods, because I don't want him to, like, when we're out to eat, if chicken fingers aren't there, I don't want him to have a meltdown.
Unfortunately, that's where I am. It's tough. Yeah. It's really hard.
It's hard. So hopefully, I mean, this could all go awry. I'm just saying. We're just doing our best to mitigate it.
Yeah.
It's
it's amazing. It's amazing the compromises you make as a dad.
It's like, please just shut up and take these chicken fingers.
Fine, we'll go to McDonald's.
Here's the screen. Just look at it.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
How old is your son now?
He's 9 months.
9
Actually,
months.
3 days ago. 3 days ago, he turned 9 months. Yeah. And he's a psychopath.
It gets tough, man. You find there's a lot of bargaining involved. There's a lot of irrationality.
Yeah.
And you just find yourself just letting things go that you never thought you would, because it's better to just keep the peace.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough. You're bouncing on the edge of a knife, man.
Oh yeah. Well, just a quick aside, and we'll get back on track. My wife had her friend over. She's the maid of honor in her friend's wedding on Friday night. And her friend looks down. She's like, Aiden's chewing on Duncan's toy, and Duncan's chewing on Aiden's toy.
Duncan is the dog.
My dog, my pug. And Ash is like, fuck it. Like, I can't fight this. Like, there's a certain amount of fight you have as a parent. Like, like, I don't want you chewing on wires and doing all that kind of stuff. But like, if you're not in danger, might as well develop your immune system now.
A dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's anyway. You're reasoning. You just come up with something.
And it's not like Duncan spends a ton of time outside. He's a house pug. Mm-hmm. He's a plant with a heartbeat, really. He's awesome. But getting back on track, you're 100% right when it comes to, planning and preparing. And this is something that I struggled with when I was a collegiate strength coach. I had access to food 24/7, whatever the hell I wanted, whenever I wanted it. And unfortunately, when you put an Italian kid from New York in that situation, they're going to gorge, especially because I was injured. I had a back injury, this, that, the other. I just let myself go.
Oh, man, that self-control is hard to keep.
Yeah, it sucked. And, you're working 15-hour work days and all you're doing is screaming and you're in pain. Like, of course I'm going to have ice cream. Of course, because
why shouldn't you?
Because you only have a finite amount of willpower.
Yeah,
there's only so much, and if you're using it up just getting out of bed because you're in so much pain, and then you're using it up working and running around the office all day and doing this and doing that, by the time you get to taking care of yourself, you have like a slice of that pie left.
Yeah,
and you're only going to make so many decisions before you're like, fuck it, whatever.
That's actually that's really insightful that you only have a finite amount of willpower, because I've experienced that on a daily basis. I don't know about you, but Sometimes it is just a struggle just to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, it's
not in like a depression sense of the word, but it's just it's early.
Mm-hmm.
I want to sleep. I know I'm going to have a long day ahead of me of work. I know where I'm going to be working, or I know the task I'm going to be doing that day, what my assignment is.
Yeah,
and it's just like, I'm not at the point where I have a passion for what I do.
Right,
it's a great job. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love being part of a union. I love building things and having something to show for what I did all day.
Yeah.
Tangibly working and creating something.
That's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, if I could podcast for a living, I would without a second thought.
Yeah. You get to have cool conversations, hang out, drink some good coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not everybody gets to make a living out of their passion.
No, but
either way, my point is that it takes a lot of willpower just to get started for the day.
And it's a concept that it's called decision fatigue.
Okay.
And I know they people always reference like Steve Jobs and stuff. He always wore the same clothes because he didn't want to make a fucking decision first thing in the morning. He wanted everything automated for him, as much as possible automated and offloaded, so he could focus on creating Apple. And I think it kind of ties into it. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. And I don't even know what author even wrote about that. My friend Jake, shout out to Jake Cox. He's a lot smarter than me. And that's where I go for all my, like, hey, Jake, what's the book I need to read now? And that's Jake. But, Jake talked to me about it. And it makes sense, Like,
it makes a lot of sense.
So if you can automate your meal decisions on Sunday for Wednesday, you're helping yourself out, dude.
Yes.
And I have another buddy of mine, my buddy Mike, who works with me at my place, but also owns his personal training studio on the side. Mike and his wife are like, my wife looks at them and she's like, goals. They're both on it. They're physically fit. They're just all over it. And it's Mike's lifestyle because that's his livelihood. But I talked to Mike, like, what's your secret, dude? And he's like, cook on Sunday.
Yeah.
Go grocery shopping Sunday morning, cook, do it by 1:00 in the afternoon. You're set up. You're good to go. And you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
There's just, you don't have to think. You don't have to say, oh, honey, what do you want to eat tonight?
Right.
I don't know.
And can we get into like what the content of the plate should be real fast?
100. Let's do it.
Yeah. So this is a system that.
Now, hang on. Before you start.
Yeah.
This is a problem that I have specifically for me, is that I have no problem doing all the meal prep on Sunday and cooking. But where I'm working right now, I don't have a microwave. So I need something that I can eat cold.
Yeah.
And it's a huge problem because, you can only eat grilled chicken so many times.
Yeah.
Cold chicken and
I've
broccoli.
actually got a couple good recipes. I'll snapshot them over to you. Like it's like healthy chicken salad and healthy egg salad and that kind of stuff. And
all right, let's
like
get into
healthy turkey burgers. But like the content of your plate is real simple. And this is like my boss and I have been talking about this because this is the information we have to give information to high school kids who are notably contentious. And despite the fact that you might have expertise, they think you know jack shit.
Of course, because they're in high school and they know everything they need to know.
Yeah, they're 14 years old.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you know? But
basically a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Got half a goatee already.
I have 4 hairs. So if you look at your plate as a whole piece, right, a whole pie, like that whole my plate thing, it's all right. But half that plate needs to be vegetables.
Okay.
Half of it. Because
right off the bat,
half your plate has to be vegetables because we don't get enough micronutrients, which are your vitamins and your minerals, throughout our day. And there's a ton of healthy stuff in them, and you got to eat them and eat them green, eat them leafy, eat them red, whatever you got to do. Vary up your colors on your plate. You should never be eating too many green vegetables or too many reddish and orange vegetables, but vary up your colors. That's a simple way to handle your vegetable portion. The other half of the plate needs to be split 50-50 with your protein source and with your carbohydrate source. Brown rice, sweet potato. White potatoes are fine. White rice is fine. It's just got to be an appropriate amount of carbohydrates.
In proportion.
Exactly. And then your protein, your lean meats, your fish, that kind of stuff. If we all stuck to that, we wouldn't have an obesity epidemic in the country.
Yeah.
Right? And there are some, obviously there are some people with genetic limitations. I'm not discrediting them, but I'm saying by and large, the center of mass, our overall health would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking about diet and exercise, what you're really talking about is like promotion of longevity. You want longevity. I don't want to die when I'm 60. Because when I'm 60, my kid's only going to be 23. Because I had a kid late.
And also, you want like your last years to be lived well.
Yeah.
You don't want to be suffering your last 10 years of life.
No. Yeah. And people who eat lots of vegetables, vary up their vegetables, vary up their proteins, and limit their carbohydrates to a reasonable level, live longer. They're healthier. Their insulin levels are regulated, so they're not worrying about type 2 diabetes. Their hormone levels are relatively regulated because chances are they're working out too, which will help stabilize all that stuff. And cognitively, they are way more present. I took an Uber. I had to drop my car off at the mechanic a couple weeks ago.
You took an Uber here?
No, I took an Uber. I took an Uber up to work from my town.
Man, I'll give you a ride home.
And the Uber driver, dude, was like 77 years old, right? But he's been working out since he was 14. Didn't drink heavily, right? Never really got into doing drugs. Ate well. He and his wife eat healthy. It was like I was talking to a 45-year-old. He was there. Like there are some 77 years olds. You're talking to him. You're like, shit, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you saying?
Are you like, he was in like a weird way, or in just like where it was just so wise, where it flies over your head?
Well, I don't know. It could be. It could be very wise and flying over my head, or it could be like, what the fuck is going on in this room right now?
There's such a spectrum of Uber drivers.
Yeah. No, this guy was with it. He was awesome.
Okay.
Great guy. I forget his name. Whatever. But yeah, so there's that aspect of it too. Like, you know, we're talking about setting yourself up for your future in your 30s and developing the habit from 30 to 40, so that by the time you're at 40, you're on cruise control.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to do. Like by and large, by the time where you're at right now, you can kind of figure out where your week is going to ebb and flow. There might be some fluctuations in your scheduling. There might be some things that come up that you need to kind of alter and account for. But by and large, it's pretty much the same schedule week to week.
Yeah, for me, it's 100% the same schedule every week. I mean, listen, we want to give people a basic, plan, so that you don't end up being like somebody's giant dad in like the back of the graduation ceremony on a rascal scooter, fanning himself with the program,
just sweating bacon.
Yeah, that nut fog coming off you. You just scoop it off and throw it at someone.
Oh my God!
Hot mayonnaise coming at you.
Yeah, man. Basic plan.
Daddy's got to go back to the hotel and swab his folds. Shout out to Patton Oswalt. That's not my line, just as a disclaimer. But it's so good. I'm gonna go back and swab my folds. It's so disgusting.
So gross. Just the visual is just terrible.
But we all know the guy with the straw hat on the scooter.
Oh yeah, everyone. There's at least like 2 or 3 of them every graduation.
Oh yeah,
and they like congregate. They park. They're like a biker gang. Of just physically unfit humans. But yeah, dude, getting to a basic plan: squat, deadlift, push, pull, overhead press, all that kind of stuff. Do your cardio and eat your vegetables. Right? This is all shit
Hulk Hogan.
This is all shit we were exactly 1980s. When I was a Hulkamaniac too, man, and I'm like, yeah, Hulk, you're fucking right, man. Like they had it down.
That's true. I was before the first Thor movie came out, I was reading about Chris Hemsworth, the plan, because I don't know if you saw the first Thor movie, he's still diesel.
Yeah,
Dude's
in shape. He's a handsome motherfucker, man.
But he was talking about how he had to learn like a completely new way to eat, and it was eating for utility. Like everything you eat, everything that's on your plate, there's a reason you're eating it. You need to know why I'm eating chicken, why I'm eating nuts, why I have this salad, why I have this particular vegetable. What am I getting out of this? And there has to be a reason why you need it. Not like it's not I'm eating this because I like it. It's I'm eating this because this gives me XYZ nutrients that I need for today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it definitely is a good method I found to follow that, because it makes you really consider everything you put in your body.
Yeah.
And everything has to be there for a good reason.
That's a really good. I actually never heard that, and that's like a really good mindful eating exercise, especially for someone who's relatively like, all right, so I have my plan, but and you're kind of consistent on it, but like mitigating that seventh day of pasta like me, I can't turn it to pasta and cookie dough ice cream. I don't know.
You need it sometimes.
Sunday, I need it
to recharge your mind.
Yeah.
Because mentally, it's tough. It's a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
It's a lot of rigidity in what you eat, the same thing over and over. I mean, I'm sure anybody who's maybe like a bodybuilder or an athlete, they eat the same things over and over. There's a lot of consistency.
Yep.
Because that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You keep doing the same things over and over until you get where you need to be.
Yes.
And when you're there, you keep doing it, and that's how you stay there.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I mean, you're a human being, it's hard to just eat the same kind of stuff.
Well,
every
especially
day.
Think about like our video game culture too. And I'm a child. We're video game kids.
Yes.
We were born after 1981. We're video game kids. Achievement unlocked. Mm-hmm. Achievement unlocked. Well, now I get to relax. I unlocked the achievement. No, you didn't. No, you don't. Now you gotta find something else.
Yeah, you gotta grind, man.
Yeah.
You gotta level up.
Dude, Goggins in his book addresses this very aggressively, and it's something that you like. If you're looking to get to that next level, and whatever your pursuit is, if you're trying to get a revenge bod because your girlfriend dumped you, if you're trying to maintain health for longevity, if you're competing in an Ironman, whatever you're doing, like getting that in your mind, like I haven't accomplished shit yet. We're back to zero. Time to find something new. Mm-hmm. And it's a mental exercise you need to go through every day.
You gotta have goals.
Yeah, it's like is my job done? And this is something that as a parent, you have to do with your kids. You have to, you're a father. Like, you have to follow through. Like, all right, well, I said that today, this is what we're accomplishing, and this is what we're going to get done, and the day's not over until it's done.
See, this is actually, you brought up something good. I'm going to nerd out a little bit here.
Yeah, go for it.
So, Tyler, my son, loves Pokemon, which is great.
Yeah.
It was big when I was a kid. I know way too much about it, way more than a 34-year-old man should know about it. It's fine. So what I want to do, I'm thinking about buying a whole nother Nintendo Switch because we already have one. Mm-hmm. But the problem is with only one, I can't play against him. Okay? I'm still pretty goddamn good at the games. Like, I know how it works. I know the grind. It's the consistency. You have to level up. You have to build a team.
Yep.
You have to work consistently. And he's 8. He's not there yet. So I want to give him something to shoot for. Like, you have to work because you need to be able to beat me. You need to be able to beat Dad. Okay, so you have to grind. You have to get your team up to a good level.
That's right.
So I'm trying to find ways.
Because you're not going to give him free wins.
Fuck no, I'm not.
No.
Well, I don't know if you saw on a fridge, one of the things that we started doing when me and my wife got married and I became his stepdad is, so with Pokemon, because I know it's something he loves, I made a list of all the different gym badges, like from the game.
Oh, nice.
So each one is an accomplishment. You have to say, all right, learn to tie your shoes. This one is you have to clean up the table after dinner for 10 nights in a row. This one you have to read 20 books. This one you have to beat Dad in a foot race. Anything. But when he completes it, he gets the actual badge. I got the actual pin.
That's amazing.
And I got him a case to hang it on his wall. And every time he gets one, it's like almost like a little merit badge kind of thing.
I'm stealing it.
Take it.
I'm taking that idea. It's
out there for
great
anybody.
idea.
But it gives him something to shoot for. So there's constantly something else he's trying to do. One of the things we had a hard time with was talking during a movie. So the most recent one he got, we went to see the movie Shazam.
Okay.
I said, you can get this badge. This is the voltage badge. You get this if you can make it through the entire movie Shazam without talking during the movie. And I told him, like, you only get one shot because I'm not buying a bunch of tickets to go back to the theater. Yeah. And he did it.
It's like $1,000 to go to the movies as a family now.
Oh, God. For 3 of us, over here at this theater down on Findern,
yeah,
it was $58 because it's like $18 for adults and $15 for a kid for like a Friday or Saturday night.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Wow.
But either way, like it's a perfect example of what you're saying. You need something to shoot for. So he has goals, and each thing is different. There's all kinds of different dumb shit on there.
That's awesome.
And it gives him something to shoot for, and he's constantly working towards the next thing. So he's gotten pretty far.
That's awesome, man.
I threw in a couple. I threw in ones that I can take away. Like one of them, it's called the balance badge. If he just gets it, but if he's misbehaving or having a rough time, not listening, I can take it away. So if you're like, hey, you want that balance badge? You better, get in fucking line, bro. I don't say fucking to him, but yeah. But that's I mean, that's a great thing. You need a goal. You need something to keep you on the path.
And everybody needs a goal because we all have a path.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a path. And I look at it, I have a line that I always reflect on when I'm feeling like, a little lost or whatever. If you're capable, you're responsible. And if we're capable of doing something, and as human beings by nature, we're capable of a lot. Mm-hmm. We're responsible for doing things. We're responsible for finding tasks. You know, I mean, my current role at my school is a lot different than what my role was when I was at the collegiate level. I have more free time to pursue interests, which I could either use to watch, you know, YouTube videos on Game of Thrones theories, or visit the Free Folk website, which I sometimes do. Or I can say, all right, I'm going to take some online courses. I'm going to further my learning. Like I'm trying to separate myself from the next job or the next my next line of employment and who I'll be competing with. And the only way to do that is to stay working on the craft.
Yeah.
So I'm always working on the craft. I'm trying new training methods in my own training. I'm trying, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, and dude, I picked home renovation over the past 2 years. Like I had no idea. I was telling you before, I have no idea how to. I couldn't spackle. I was lost with a paint roller. My wife looked at me and she's like, dude, you're going to have to pick it up. Because she grew up, her father's a contractor. She grew up in it. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Now that I have skills, like I could do the electric work and this, that, the other, she does all the painting.
Oh.
Except when she was pregnant, I got stuck with it again.
Listen, as an electrician, there is nothing worse than going into someone like an old house and having to do work. It's the worst because the way they did like individual houses back in the day, it was just the least amount of wire necessary, the least amount of splices. We're going to do it for cheap and get the most out of the material we have, so we don't blow all our money, you know, doing it.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's just hack jobs, dude. Hack jobs, where it's to the point where people ask me to do like side work for them. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I'm sorry. Yeah. I won't. How old's the house? 1950? No, can't do it. Sorry.
And the 50s were the Wild West.
Dude,
that's when my house.
The 80s were the Wild West. It didn't get decent until the late 80s, early 90s.
Really?
Because there is just some terrible craftsmanship. Just stuff where it's not even safe.
We were doing work in my house. My brother found a three-way, a junction box that was wired up 3 ways. So we cut all the power, and he's like, no, this thing's still hot. And then we had to find the other circuit. So one of the circuits was we had to find the other circuit. It took us so long to figure it out. I got
one of those.
You did?
Did your brother become an electrician?
Yeah, he's an electrician.
Years ago, but when he was still in the band, I happened to see him at Guitar Center in Paramus. I had my union school, my actual local, is 5 minutes away from there.
Okay.
And I was on my lunch break, and I had to stop by to get a new pack of strings for my bass. And I saw him there. I was like, yo, what the fuck's going on, man? And he's like, oh, yeah, what are you doing up here? And I was like, I got school over here. And he's like, really? For an electrician stuff? I was like, yeah. I'm in the local 164. And he said, and he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about getting into that. I was like, oh, dude, you should 100% do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome that he actually did it.
Yeah, he did it. And he's funny. You know, he loved it. He loved, you know, now he builds custom guitars on the side. He's building, you know, for him and his son. My nephew freaks out over guitars. He after he left his last band, after he left Sense of Fail, he stopped playing altogether. Stopped playing, and then it wasn't until he quit the band, I think in 2009, and it wasn't until Cormac was like 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. So that was 2016. So he stopped playing for like 7 years. And Cormac's like, guitar. Mm-hmm. And he made my brother play. And now they jam in the basement. Like every morning, Carmel will run into his room. He's like, Dad, you got to play the guitar. That's awesome. I gotta go to Grandma's, but you got to play guitar with me first. So Heath's collection is now all going to his son. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, once I quit the cover band, I don't think I really ever picked anything up. I mean, I did a few recordings with my buddies, Laquan and Rashawn, that they did the theme music for the show. Okay. I did a few things for them, like a couple bass tracks, but never. I have my guitar in my bedroom on a stand. I look at it every single day, and I almost never touch it. And I'm like mad at myself now that I'm thinking about it.
That's all right. You know, you got other things to keep you occupied.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna get you out of here so we can get home in time for the
Thrones.
Show. Yeah, Thrones. You got any? It's 8:05.
All right. I got to know, who's your favorite character?
My favorite character? Oh, depends, because did you read any of the books?
Yeah, all of them.
So did I.
And Fire and Blood.
Oh, really? Yeah. I didn't get that yet. But Victarion Greyjoy from the books.
Okay.
Not even in the show.
No.
So if you've never read the books, Theon Greyjoy has 3 uncles and his father. So his father Balon, his oldest uncle Victarion, who is a Lord of the Iron Fleet, Lord Commander of the Iron Fleet. Mm-hmm. Then Uncle Euron, the Crow's Eye.
They did such a shitty job with him in the show.
They did. It's so different, but he is kind of cool.
Yeah. He's cool, but
Yeah.
you know, he's not anywhere near the psychopath he really is in the books.
Oh, then he has one other uncle, the priest, Uncle Aaron. Yeah. Anyway, Victarion was my favorite in the books. I don't know why. He just was like a badass, like just no nonsense. Yeah. Just a fucking killer. But he was like honorable, kind of.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So
like,
you like him for the same reason I like my favorite character.
Who's your favorite character?
The Hound.
Okay.
A man's got to have a code. And it's a fucked up code that he has, but he's got a code.
Okay.
And he lives by it, man. He's got a standard. He's got something that he holds himself to, and it's independent of anyone else. And even still, like, we don't know what or why he's doing what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And I actually think that's going to be a cool reveal if they eventually reveal his motives.
We're gonna get Clegane Bowl. It's got to happen.
You think so?
It's got to happen.
I think so too.
They've been setting it up. The whole thing when he sees his brother in the last season.
Yeah.
They set it up.
Yeah, I feel like Dave and Dan ran out of dialogue.
Yeah.
And like they're just kind of pulling straws, and they're like, you know what would be cool? Let's give the fans a little teaser. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I don't know.
I hope it does, man.
I'm just going into it with almost no expectations. I just want to see it unfold because I've been waiting for years to find out how this fucking series ends.
But isn't it amazing how different it is now from the books?
Yes.
Because I mean, if you've never read the book, seasons 1 and 2 of the show are pretty close to the book. And then right around season 3 is when it starts veering. And then it just, as the farther into it you get, the farther away from the books it gets.
Yeah.
Because there's so many characters from the books that aren't even touched on in the show.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of characters that are dead in the books, alive in the show, and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's gotten to be so far off that I want to know what happens in the books more than I want to know what happens in the show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, but at least you're gonna get a taste of what the books are gonna be. You're gonna get the nuts and bolts of it when the series ends.
Get the general gist.
Yeah, but I think it's tough. A lot of the main characters they've had to park elsewhere. Like Arya had to get parked in Bravos for a very, very long time. Yeah. But everyone needed to converge now.
Yes.
And they had to do something with them. I'm interested to see how they handle Bran. Because Bran can ruin everything. He knows.
I've heard so many theories about him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But
so many time travel theories and weird shit like that.
Yeah, like the time loop that Bran starts.
Yeah.
Or
maybe he's really the Night King.
Or he's the one who turned Aerys Targaryen mad.
Yes. That was another one I heard.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how that flows. But I don't know, man.
Do you think they'll ever show Howland Reed? Because he was the only one.
I think this is the problem with Bran. Bran knows too much. Bran knows everything, right? Howland Reed's the only other person who knows it. I think if they're going to reveal it through Bran, they won't need Howland Reed.
I think the same thing. I think they got around that last season.
He's a character that's going to have to get introduced in the books, though.
He has to.
Well, he's also different in the books.
Well, he's
got something going on. He's got some magic to him.
Yeah, there's weird stuff, especially with his castle where he lives. It's supposed to be like a castle that changes location and like weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, in the show, I think you're right. They got around having to introduce him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you only saw him for one scene in the whole thing during when young Ned Stark fought the Kingsguard outside the Tower of Joy.
Yeah. Arthur Dayne had his number.
Oh, man. I feel like that battle, they could have done a little more to talk about Arthur Dayne.
Yeah,
because they made him like a badass swordsman. He has 2 swords and he's killing motherfuckers.
And they showed Dawn.
Yeah,
they showed.
Did they really show it though?
Well, I mean,
because that's the thing. They gave him 2 swords.
Right.
So
but when Ned set it down on her bed, Lyanna's bed, it was it's got the emblem and stuff like that. So at least they're at least trying. I think they were at least trying to give you a taste.
Yeah, a little Easter egg.
Here's
a
little
fans.
thing. Yeah, everyone's like, yeah. I don't know, man. I wish Arthur Dayne was more present. Mm-hmm. I wish there was more to him than just that.
Yeah, that's the problem too. There's so many good, like rich characters.
Yeah.
That they don't have the time to get into on the show.
No, and I think George R.R. Martin did a great job, like shrouding so many people in so much mystery that you're like, man, you just want to see more of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's great.
We're gonna get into it. All right, Mike, I want to say thanks, man.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
This might be the smartest episode I've ever done.
No way. Nah, I'm not that smart. I just steal other smart people's ideas.
Well, either way, I'm really glad you came by.
Hey, thanks, man. Love being here.
Hey, thanks
Appreciate
again.
it.
So, to my listeners, the audience, I want to give a shout out to anybody that's listening to us overseas. I have a few listeners in the UK.
Oh, really?
A few, I think there's a few in Australia as well.
Okay.
And I did notice this week I have a few new listeners in India.
India.
Okay. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's great.
Hey, shout out to you guys.
So they give you like a
Yeah, I get a breakdown of where I'm
map.
getting downloads from.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So if someone streams it on Spotify service, do
It gets
you get that?
Yeah, it gets a little hairy.
That's how I listen to you.
It gets a little hairy with the individual platforms that they're downloading from.
Okay.
Because it shows like Apple as one thing, but iTunes as a separate thing.
Right.
So it's weird. I mean, I'm more interested in just who's listening where.
Yeah.
So
And that it's great that you have a voice.
yeah,
you got
that's
people
really
listening.
cool. So yeah, shout out to the overseas listeners.
Shout out to India, man.
Yeah. Anybody listening, you know how to reach us. We're on Instagram, Twitter, at APodAmongstMen. Maybe if you look in the show notes, we'll give a link to anything Mike wants to shout out.
Yeah, awesome.
But
Awesome. And if there are if you have any of your viewers like asking for like elaboration and be like, he's fucking wrong, show me the research.
Yeah,
I'm sure
us.
if someone wants to fact check me, please send me an email. I'll send you send you at least my thoughts.
if you think we're wrong, or if you have any questions, by all means, email us APodAmongstMen@gmail.com. You guys know how to reach us by now. You know, we're 14 episodes in.
That's it. You're
If
vets.
you're still listening, you're a vet. Yeah. So, as always, we'll see you next week. Thanks again for listening. Man up, gentlemen.
That's right.
And ladies, too. Yeah, you know. Ladies as pimps, too. Go and brush your shoulders off. All right, but we'll see you guys next week. All right, peace out.
See you, Steve. Bye, guys.